What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to it.
Running gear. Braking system. The braking system is absolutely typical and does not cause much trouble to owners, except that the sensors of the ABS system are not very reliable. More precisely, their connectors are not very tight, which causes system failures. The rear brakes have two gentle handbrake design. In combination with the aluminum caliper housing, it creates prerequisites for failure of the handbrake mechanism and subsequent leaks due to damage of the handbrake shaft gland and corrosion of the caliper housing in this place. Otherwise, the system is characterized by commendable simplicity and reliability of operation in conjunction with a wide choice of quality and affordable non-original. Front brake pads part original price of non-original 2 brake system front brake pads 2013-83 408 Phoenix. 278 brake pads rear 308282 578 Phoenix 720 front brake disc. 280 by 25 mm 17 612 2 PCs 84 227 Phoenix 2031 rear brake disc. 264 times 10 mm 8 555 2 PCs 82 547 Textar 3971 suspension. The suspension of the Zafira B is also simple and does not present any serious surprises. McPherson struts in front even at regular full load and on not the best roads withstand their 150 to 160,000 kilometers of mileage without any problems. Both shock absorber and support are reliable. The lever and a ball bearing sometimes serve even more, except stabilizer struts are a consumable here with service life of 30,000. Springs sag at mileage over 200, well or at regular overloads. The rear suspension has surprisingly weak beam silent blocks. They do not go badly on an empty car, but if to use it by appointment, there are chances to kill them already after 50,000 mileage. The clue lies in the fact that the load of 5 adults with luggage and 2 children is higher than the passport one by almost 100 kilograms. An indirect sign of regular overloads is the resource of shock absorbers and the condition of rubber of its low amount. But similar effect is given by moving at high speed on unpaved roads. Part original price of non-original 2 suspension front L-arm 13 350 Lemfeder 2894 Monroe 2 354 rear. Support of the front arm 1 663 Lemfeder 976 Febby 910 front shock absorber 16 122 torque 2 475 Bort 6 951 ball bearing 5 748 Mapco. 520 AS metal 660 front hub 21 894 FAG 9 683 SKF 6 110 rear beam silent block 3 661 GM FAG 1 356 Delphi 1 548 steering. The steering on the Zafira B is ECU steering i.e. with a conventional hydraulic rack and an electrically driven pump. There are no special problems with the rack. It serves for quite a long time if you keep an eye on the seals. Except that the resource of rods and lugs on a heavy car could be higher. They are usually changed once in 50,000. But here much depends on the owner. But the EGUR pump suffers greatly from the lack of normal cooling, and from rare oil change. Nominally, it is irreplaceable, but it is worth changing it once in 30 to 40,000 kilometers, especially since the operation is inexpensive. On the old oil not only wears out the mechanics of the pump, but also suffers from the electric motor, and then the keys in the control unit can burn out. If you drive for a long time with a dying pump EGUR, without changing the oil, the superheated liquid with metal crumbs will do the seals of the rack. To understand the scale of expenses at such problems, a new pump will cost 800 to 900 euros. Transmission. Common problems according to the absolute majority of owners. The main problem of this generation of Zafira is that it does not have a full-fledged automatic transmission for the most popular motor 1.8 with 140 horsepower. At that, on car platform Astra H such combination is available, but why owners of minivans were deprived of it is not clear. From pleasant, not bad resource of joints, absence of problems with spare parts, shafts, and splines. Mechanical boxes like other Opel cars of this period, Zafira is not very lucky with manual boxes. The main trouble is called F17, and is on all cars with motors 1.6 and 1.8. With more powerful motors also not everything is not smooth, Supercharged petrol 2.0 and diesels are supposed to not very lucky M32. And only rare cars with 2.2 and MKP have quite strong for its timebox F23. The reasons for F17 problems on large cars have been discussed many times in other materials, for example, in a recent article about the Vectra C. This box is made on the basis of F13 box case, which was designed for very weak engines and frankly did not bear the maximum torque of the motors. Weak housing, small diameters of the secondary shaft and front bearing of the secondary shaft of not the best quality lead to the fact that over time this very bearing dies. In this case, it usually damages at the same time and the shaft, and the housing of the box, and the products of wear get to the already weak differential. But the latter can go for a walk and not waiting for the problem with the secondary shaft, especially for those who like to tow. In snow and mud, on the shaft of satellites there is no notch for lubrication, and it easily seizes under prolonged loads. Everything is complicated by the fact that the original bearing has a very non-standard dimension of 47x27x19, 5, and the nearest more or less common reliable analogues have a dimension of 47 by 20 by 18, which requires resharpening the shaft to an even smaller diameter. However, in practice, this is a better option than even installing a new shaft instead of the butted and original bearing. In the case of the original, the dimension itself dictates unsuccessful load characteristics and early failure. Only the gasoline engine 2.2, with it there is an old strong GetRag F23, and the most powerful diesel engine 1.9 litres, with which works the Opel box of F40 series. To be fair, the F23 also has problems with bearings, but rarely, mostly complaints are related to the work of the rocker and gear selection mechanism. In F40 bearings are very good, and only rocker and, as well as on M32, dual-mass flywheel let down. Automatic gearboxes with 2.2 motors, the Zafira was equipped with a real hydromechanical automatic Aisin AW50-40NF. This is a 4-speed box from the old guard. It has electronic control, but in fact it differs little from the progenitor with hydrovacuum control, the so-called governor. There are neither linear solenoids nor active pressure regulation. Very conservative GDT locking algorithms, very slow oil contamination and conservative cooling system with heat exchanger in the main radiator. As a result, this gearbox is very survivable. If the oil is changed regularly, at least once every 60 to 80,000 kilometers, it will certainly last longer than the engine and the car itself. There are quite alive units with mileage over 400,000 kilometers. The main enemies of Aisin are heat exchanger leaks, when antifreeze gets into ATF, and overloads with oil overheating. In this case, frictions of drive or reverse and direct package suffer. The last package is still badly killed. If auto neutral is switched on, switching on neutral gear, while the car is standing still. But this option was disabled even by dealers, because frequent switching on and off led to problems with the box during the warranty period. Simple overloading leads to wear of rear caliper and seals on drive or reverse friction. As a result, the box loses reverse gear. There are also cases of housing cracks and pressure leakage in the same drum, but the result is the same: lack of pressure, loss of rear, garbage in the box and overhaul light, replacement of the burn package, filter. It is internal and is changed only when the box is half, as well as rings on the caliper or the caliper itself. Repair is very cheap, costs 200 to 400 euros. By the standards of modern prices for automatic transmission repair it is pennies, and after it the box goes on quite well. At mileage under 500,000 the planetary gear can already make noise, but it can do it for a long time. In general, it is a reliable and foolproof automatic transmission, which is rare nowadays. Only fuel consumption of cars with this automatic transmission is not pleasing. On a highway it is quite acceptable, about 7 to 8 litres. But in city conditions it easily goes for 16 litres per 100. The quality of gear shifting is satisfactory only in a very quiet style of driving. It is not recommended to speed up, the car will get confused in gears, will switch with shocks and not in time. Manual mode saves a little, but shifts in it are very stretched. In general, it is possible to drive a car with a robot, but not very pleasant, and there are situations when the shortcomings of the design can lead to accidents. For example, when moving in a traffic jam in a dense flow uphill, the car slowly increases the rollback back, and then just stands up, overheating the clutch. With reliability, everything is also not very good in many respects because of flimsiness of the donor. However, Mechanisms of clutch and shift drive are not distinguished by a very high resource. Most often fails the electric motor of the clutch drive or control unit. Details can be seen in the material on Opel Vectra C motors. Common problems: the Zafira's tight layout under the hood makes it difficult to maintain, and temperatures are higher than in conventional cars. As a result, the service life of plastic and rubber elements is, all other things being equal, shorter. And also brains of gasoline motors suffer a lot. They fail on Zafira much more often than on Vectra and Astra. And the wiring becomes fragile already by 8 years of operation. Another common trouble is branded oils of Dexo's 2 family. They are very strongly carbonized, coking and prone to oil plague. And at the interval of replacement once in 15,000 quickly kill the motor. Gasoline motors: the main mass of cars is equipped with motors 1, 6, and 1, 8 liters from the line of GM family, one of the 3rd generation. These are very conservative motors, by design dating back to as early as 82. Cast iron block, aluminum 16-valve cylinder head, timing belt drive. There is a phase regulator, or 2, but no hydrocompensators. Conventional pump, controlled thermostat, and there is a water oil heat exchanger. Despite the simplicity of the design, it has some disadvantages. The main complaints are related to the high operating temperature of these motors and the low life of the thermostat seals and, more unpleasantly, the aforementioned water oil heat exchanger. The latter is located under the exhaust manifold, and in addition to the internal heating is heated from the outside. Seals do not withstand. The original ones flow already by the 3rd or 5th year of operation, and non-original ones are changed once a year. Only seals made of fluorocarbon rubber or PTFE can work in such conditions, and ordinary MBS rubber varieties literally dissolve with oil at the temperature of 100 degrees and more. As a result, some owners simply weld the heat exchanger, because it serves mainly for heating oil, not cooling it, and as a result of such a radical intervention, the oil in normal operating modes does not overheat. Malfunctions in the phaser regulators due to contamination of valve grids and wear of the valves themselves, and then of the phaser regulators, are also not uncommon, but now there is accumulated experience in diagnosing and repairing such problems. And at typical operation on branded oil and with intervals of its replacement once in 15,000 after 120 to 150,000 mileage all. Motors of this line begin to consume oil in increasing amounts. That often results in overhaul at mileage of 200 to 250,000. It is quite easy to make motors of this series much more reliable. Cold thermostat at 86 to 92 degrees and early switching on fans. And there will be no frequent problems with rubbers, cooling system leaks, heat exchanger, and dynamics will increase. But most of the cars are serviced in very cheap services, and there is no question of refinements. There are higher chances that the motor will be damaged by installation of frank keytry and handlessness. When buying in the first place, it is worth to evaluate not even the weak points of motors, but the quality of service in general. About motors 22Z22YH, I recommend to look in the material on Opel Vectra C. There they are more common. Not the worst motor, especially since recently the cost of its operation is falling due to lower prices for timing components and fuel equipment. Diesel motors: about diesel engines 1.9 and 1.7. It makes sense to read in detail in the material about Alfa Romeo 159. There they are. Much more common and are considered in detail. On the Russian Zafira B they are very few, less than 1% of the population. In brief, they are good and very successful engines, moreover, economical and powerful. Literally with a few nuances on the design of the timing and typical diesel problems on the fuel equipment. Details: original price of non-original 2-engine radiator 22 391 AC Delco 6187, Nissan's 5107 timing belt. Z18 Exa4 589 Dayco 1 672 Conitec 2005 timing set, Z18 Exa 957 ENA 8 183 Dayco 7 100 pump, Z18 Exa 3095 Airtex 1 593 Herpu 3 329 to take or not to take. The conclusion seems quite obvious. The optimal motors are gasoline 2.2 and diesel 1.9. Machines with these motors on sale, literally units in the whole country, but, perhaps, if you need exactly Zafira, then a trip to a neighboring region for such a variant in good condition may well pay off. From the point of view of consumer properties, diesel is especially good. Its character is alive, and 6-speed Aisin is modern and reliable enough. The variant with 2.2 and old 4-speed will be a little vegetable, but as much as possible problem-free, unless, of course, the Car itself is not very neglected. Cars with 1.6 and 1.8, which are on sale not even by an order of magnitude, but by 2 orders of magnitude more, should not be completely written off, but you just need to realize that their transmission has shortcomings inherent in the design itself. In conclusion, the Opel Zafira B stands out not just for its practicality and spaciousness, but also for its unique blend of manual and robotic transmissions, each offering a distinct driving experience. The Heart Vice feature adds an intriguing layer to the vehicle's performance, while the powerful engines ensure that it remains a compelling choice for those who crave excitement on the road. Whether you prefer the engaging feel of a manual gearbox or the convenience of an automatic, the Zafira B caters to diverse preferences. As we've explored, this vehicle is more than just a family car. It's a testament to engineering that balances functionality with passion. Thank you for watching, and we hope this deep dive into the Opel Zafira B has sparked your interest in this remarkable vehicle.